So we've got a big story here. The Senate, both Democrats and Republicans, apparently are saying they've found no. Well, I'll just read the title from NBC News. Senate has uncovered no direct evidence of conspiracy between Trump campaign and Russia. Quote, "We were never going to find a contract signed in blood saying, 'Hey, Vlad, we're going to collude,'" one Democratic aide said. They say, after 2 years and 200 interviews, the Senate Intelligence Committee is approaching the end of its investigation into the 2016 election, having uncovered no direct evidence of a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia, according to both Democrats and Republicans on the committee. Now, normally, I just want a quick disclaimer. Normally, this channel is where I do less serious topics, more opinion stuff. But this is a pretty big story and it's pretty straightforward. So we're gonna read through this, and I want to talk a bit about some of these issues. But let's get to the news first. This is potentially huge. They say, but investigators disagree along party lines when it comes to the implications of a pattern of contacts they have documented between Trump associates and Russians. Contacts that occurred before, during, and after Russian intelligence operatives were seeking to help Donald Trump by leaking hacked Democratic emails and attacking his opponent Hillary Clinton on social media. The first thing I want to point out here, we know, at least according to the mainstream narrative, basically all these different news organizations have pretty much come in alignment with what the Russians were doing. They're not necessarily supporting Trump. This is one of the big problems. To a hammer, everything looks like a nail. To a lot of people on the left, they're saying, oh, if they helped Hillary, they clearly must have been trying to, if they were hurting Hillary, it must have been to help Trump. No. What the Russians were trying to do, at least according to the mainstream narrative, is sow discord. We know that, according to Twitter and Facebook, many of the ads and fake accounts were promoting both Black Lives Matter as well as Confederate or Trump-supporting narratives. In fact, in one instance, my understanding, I could be wrong on this, I heard this recently, they actually set up, Russian bots contributed to or actually set up two conflicting events across the street from each other, from left and right. The goal is not to support one group. Cohesive political ideology is not what they're trying to attain. They're trying to create a fracture within the American psyche and culture so that the culture war expands and eventually destabilizes the country. To that extent, I believe it's working. I really do. And it is, it's a bit worrisome when you see the expansion of far left progressive candidates in the Democratic Party who are at odds with the mainstream Democratic Party, that people are talking about a potential new wing or effectively a third party operating within the Democrats that believe things wildly out of line with mainstream America. It says, it's possible that what we're seeing in the culture war is, it could have started here. It could have been part of just how our culture developed. But it's entirely possible it's being inflamed or it was started by foreign actors who are trying to sow discord and create serious problems for us. But let's read on. If we write a report based upon the facts that we have, then we don't have anything that would suggest there was collusion by the Trump campaign in Russia, said Senator Richard Burr, RNC, the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, in an interview with CBS News last week. Burr was careful to note that more facts may yet be uncovered, but he also made clear that the investigation was nearing an end. We know we're getting to the bottom of the barrel because there's not new questions that we're searching for answers to. Democratic Senate investigators who spoke to NBC News on condition of anonymity did not dispute Burr's characterization, but said they lacked context. We were never going to find a contract signed in blood saying, "Hey, Vlad, we're going to collude," one aide said. The series of contacts between Trump's associates, his campaign officials, his children, and various Russians suggest a campaign willing to accept help from a foreign adversary, the Democrats said. But hold on. I think one of the big issues here is, as I previously stated, they want discord, not necessarily to support Trump. But also, has there been an investigation into the Trump's dealings with Brazil or China or Japan, right? Trump is an international businessman. He runs, he's got a big company, a lot of companies apparently. And you'd have to imagine that he's talking about deals with various foreign entities. So because this investigation is so heavily focused on Russia, that to me is why it seems that, yeah, you're going to find a lot of contacts. Now, don't get me wrong. There have been some questionable moments. There was an incident, and forgive me if I'm getting the details wrong, where I believe there was like a State Department website promoting Trump Hotel or something. And you had a lot of people on the left saying this is a violation of the emoluments clause, that essentially the Trump, his organization, his family, they can't be profiting from his role in government. I think, it was eventually taken down, but that's questionable. It is. And so there are certainly issues there. Admittedly, I'm not as well versed on, these aspects of the emolument clause framing of the story. But let's carry on with the story. By many counts, Trump and his associates had more than 100 contacts with Russians before the January 2017 presidential inauguration, and maybe going back before 2016. I'm sure he's known a lot of Russian people. Donald Trump Jr. made clear in his messages that he was willing to accept help from Russians, one Democratic Senate investigator said. Trump publicly urged the Russians to find Clinton's missing emails. But listen, and this is where the divide comes on party lines. Do I think it was inappropriate that Trump on TV said it would be great if the Russians knew where the emails were? He shouldn't have said that. He absolutely should not have said it. But you could also just say he's kind of being facetious. It was hyperbole. Does he really think the Russians are going to benefit him? Look, this is going to come down to people's worldview. Trump supporters are obviously going to say, like, come on, he's being hyperbolic. People who don't like Trump are going to be saying, but that's proof he was asking for their help. And what do you do? Seriously. If they haven't found any evidence, what can we do? Those facts are beyond dispute, but they also have been known for some time and have not seemed to change Trump's political standing. Democrats and other Trump opponents have long believed that Special Counsel Robert Mueller and congressional investigators would unearth new and more explosive evidence of Trump campaign coordination with Russians. Mueller may yet do so, although Justice Department and congressional sources say they believe that he too is close to wrapping up his investigation. Now, I believe he did just push for an extension in the past month, but also numerous personalities, numerous journalists have said, expect nothing. It's going to be very anticlimactic because I got to say, you want to ask my opinion on this? I think it's complete and total nonsense. I really think it's nonsense. The narrative was emerging during the campaign. It seems like a smear, in my opinion, a smear that got out of control. There's potentially, some wrongdoing that Mueller's found. There's been, lying to investigators, which people kind of roll their eyes at. There's been, I believe, Manafort, money laundering, acting as a foreign agent, things of these nature. But every single time we've had a blockbuster story about Russia, within a day or so, fizzles out. Wrong, correction, something like that. The most recent, I believe, was BuzzFeed with this huge explosive story. And then a day later, Mueller's team, the spokesperson for Mueller, said, no, this story is not true. And they denied basically every aspect of it. So at what point do you say, listen, 200 interviews, 2 years, you haven't found anything. Why are they investigating? Trump calls it a witch hunt. Apparently some witches, actual witches, got offended. I don't mean like fictional witches like Wiccans or something, but let's continue. House Republicans announced last year they had found no evidence of collusion, but their report came under immediate criticism as a highly partisan product that excluded Democrats. Now in power, House Democrats recently announced an expanded probe that will go beyond the 2016 election to examine whether any foreign government has undue financial influence on Trump or his family. And New York federal prosecutors are pursuing their own criminal inquiry related to hush money payments to women. The investigations into Donald Trump, therefore, are far from over. But I'm just why can't we get the same level of scrutiny on Hillary Clinton? And look, I know people immediately say, dude, Clinton's not relevant anymore, yada, yada, yada. Sure, that's fine. But just because she's not in the running for president, just because she's out of the picture, doesn't mean we stop looking into corruption, right? Listen, I don't care about Clinton. I don't care about if she runs for president. I hope she doesn't. But the issue is that we had a high-profile individual, deleted public records, okay, purged her system, smashed phones with hammers, her aides did. Where is that level of scrutiny? Where? I just can't stand the complete hypocrisy. U.S. intelligence agencies assess that the operation began as an effort to sow chaos and morphed into a plan to help Trump win. It included the hacking and leaking of embarrassing Democratic emails and the use of bots, trolls, and fake accounts on social media to boost Trump, criticize Democrat Hillary Clinton, and exacerbate political differences. So I want to say, if it wasn't, so they're saying it was, intelligence agencies, that it was in effect to help Trump. But I think that's still a bit of a simplistic approach to what they were doing. I don't think that Trump and Putin were working together. I believe that Russia just doesn't like Hillary. Plain and simple. Hillary has been working in government for a long time. They were concerned about if she got into power. Hillary openly said she wanted a no-fly zone over Syria, which many believed, including a top general, it would result in war with Russia. So yeah, they didn't like her. It wasn't about helping Trump. It was about hurting Hillary, plain and simple. So they say, Democratic Senate investigators say it may take them 6 or 7 months to write their final report. Once they are done with witness interviews, they say they have uncovered facts yet to be made public, and that they hope to make Americans more fully aware of the extent to which the Russians manipulated the U.S. presidential election with the help of some of Trump's officials, witting or unwitting. The report, Democrats say, will not be good for Trump. Yes. But the question is whether or not Trump colluded with Russia or Trump won because of existing fissures within American society and whether foreign interests are trying to impact that. And if that's the case, that brings me to the bigger story. There's a reason why, I was going to do this for my main channel. My main channel is much more serious. This channel is much more, funny and silly and critical of culture. I talk about video games sometimes. But this pushes itself into a much bigger context of social media manipulation, the role of Twitter, and the responsibility of social media giants to not censor political ideas. So what I've decided to do is for my main channel video, which is the bigger story, is that I will lightly touch on these issues, but it's going to mostly focus on the impact that social media giants and ideology has on shaping the political discourse. So I'm going to leave it here. Democrats told NBC News, they say the final Senate report may not reach a conclusion on whether the contacts added up to collusion or coordination with Russia, Burr said. Democrats told NBC News that's a distinct possibility. What I'm telling you is that I'm going to present as best we can the facts to you and the American people, Burr told CBS. And you'll have to draw your own conclusion as to whether you think that, by whatever definition, that's collusion. Great. Well, all that matters is whether or not we're going to see indictable offenses. And it's likely we won't. Plain and simple. It's going to be a press statement. And, the tribes are going to choose their side. Plain and simple. So anyway, we'll end there. This is pretty big. I mean, the Senate has concluded, the investigation's concluded. Now we await Mueller. We'll see what happens. I'll have another video on my main channel at 4 p.m. that's going to do with the complete and utter hypocrisy of Twitter and social media giants suppressing political speech and the dangers. This, in my opinion, is not... this is huge. This is big. And so, one of the big issues is when you recognize that these social media giants play a role in the election process, what does that mean when they start banning people for arbitrary reasons? So stick around. I'll see you youtube.com/Timcast at 4 p.m.